I'm Tim with the Scheib Real Estate team, and this is Behind the Sign. And we got an awesome guest today, Brooks Landry. You're with Real Brokerage?
I'm with Real, yes.
All right. What market are you in, and how long have you been in the business?
So I'm in the San Francisco East Bay market, up in, if you're familiar with it, Walnut Creek, 680 corridor, kind of a little east of Oakland. I've been in residential real estate for the past 12 years, and before that, about 7 years into the mortgage industry. So I actually moved from the East Coast to the West Coast, immediately got into the mortgage industry, and then said I could let's try selling some homes. And I thought 2009 was a hell of a time to get into it, so that's when I got
why not, right?
Yeah.
You know, that it's funny because in our industry, I've been in the business since '04, and you always hear lenders thinking it's so easy to get into real estate, and sometimes they try, and I haven't seen many that have got in and succeeded. I got a good friend that has done mortgages for a long time, and he got into real estate. Now he's killing it in real estate, but he still does mortgages. You just can't do them in the same transaction.
Yeah.
Which kind of spurred me thinking, like, with rates where they're at, like, why wouldn't I go ahead and get my mortgage license? So when there's a refi boom, I'm calling my clients suggesting that, and then I'm just going to send them to him to do it, and I can get paid on it now.
Yeah. We did that for a little bit. What we found was there was a little, I don't know if it's a disconnect is a good word for it, but I felt my clients wanted to give me more hell because I was on the mortgage side, which actually hurt my reputation, if you will, to them on the real estate side, you know, because they always want to shop you, right? And
and I would never do a loan for a transaction.
Right. Yeah.
I would just give them to him. And you can legally get a referral fee,
right?
Be a junior lender, right?
For sure. Yeah, that's the way to do it.
And the biggest thing for me is I learn more about mortgages.
Yeah,
I get enough as a real estate agent. I try and stay out of the loan process because that's somewhat of a private financial thing. And when I've got agents here in town that, like, they push mortgage payments and payments and payments. I'm like, look, man,
that is thing to do.
No, because you don't know. You don't know the details of the loan. You don't know the details of how much they're putting down, what they're doing for origination, and spitting out payments is just risky.
It's super risky. You can get caught up with it. And then especially, I mean, when you're in the process of the whole mortgage thing, I think my experience in the mortgage industry gives me a little bit more credibility as far as, and it's funny because any lenders that are listening to this are like, I hate when realtors say, I used to be a lender, and you know, but I used to be a lender. And, you know, I don't know where we're at now, but I get the overall concept, the process from start to finish. But we had a good successful mortgage team for a while here in the Bay Area until everything changed. But yeah, it brings a little bit more credibility as being able to speak to a seller or a buyer about the process, and then be able to, you know, vet that team that you push them off to on the lending side.
And like if they bring in a lender, or if they're whatever, you can at least understand how it works. And if they're not getting something done properly, you can at least advise your clients, you know, hey, why don't you ask this question and check this out, just to make sure, you know, part of our job.
Avoid any red flags that pop up, I think, is a big deal.
Absolutely. So, okay, I'm going to jump right into this one because this is something that the first time I saw it, I was like, that son of a, what a freaking idea to be a realtor, dude, for real. Like, to be a man, that guy is
hilarious. I love those guys.
Absolutely. And then you did it, and I was like, gosh, that would be so awesome. And I was like, well, I mean, you're made for that part. Like, you're good at it. I don't think I could pull it off.
It's funny. There's totally, obviously the inspiration comes directly from Be a Man. I mean, hilarious. I'm from New England. My father's from outside of Boston, so my entire family's out there. So I've been following these guys for forever. And then when that started to kind of kick off, I'm like, you know what? I feel like we can probably add some of this to the real estate space and kind of make fun of myself. And it really kind of started off me just making fun of myself. Really is what it was. It just, 95% of that is just things that I've done. Has it, rubbed some people the wrong way? 100%. But
if you're willing to be on camera, that's going to happen. Period. Like, there's nothing you can do about it.
No, I'm with you. But then again, the ones I feel like that it rubs the wrong way, that's because you probably do it. You're probably the one that uses the toilet when there's no water.
Yeah. Yeah. Right.
So it's probably you. So
How
yeah,
often do
no.
you get messages from people saying, do this one or do that one?
Oh, a lot, and it's funny because I'm in the process of kind of stockpiling so we can batch like a good one. Because typically, what we do is we batch about 25 or 30 of them and shoot them all. So
Yep.
I've got a good 30, close to 40 ready to go. But
That's awesome.
I just want to be able to put them even more to like 60, 70, or 80, so that I can just schedule it, set it, and then go from there.
When you put them in a book.
In a book.
Yeah, that's what he does.
Oh, he don't. Oh no, I don't know.
So it's like
No.
Chicken Soup for the Soul, right? Like where they got all the little quotes. You
Yeah,
just put them into a book, man.
that's funny. Maybe
I'll
I
take
don't know.
50%. It's all
Yeah, I'll
good.
take 50. Me and you will split that 50. Maybe that's next stop.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So that's funny as heck. I have a game that I like to play. It's called I Got Five on It.
Shoot.
And what I mean, I give you 5 questions. You rate them from 1 to 5, 5 being hot, 1 being not.
Mm-hmm.
All right. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Live videos.
5.
5. Okay.
Mhm.
Merch shops.
2.
Yeah. All right. Stained woodwork.
I like stained woodwork. I do. I probably do a 4. I can give
Okay.
that a 4.
House flipping.
In this market, give that a 1. But
Nice.
I'm in the process of doing one right now, and it's a little hairy. So
All right. And then mustaches.
my old man had a mustache. I don't hate mustaches. I can't really grow a full one, so I'm going to give that a 3.
All right. It's
Yeah.
funny because I went to a police ball about a couple weeks ago. If they were under the age of like 40, they were rocking a mustache. I'm like,
Really?
what is going on here? Crazy how stuff comes back. All right. House flipping. You said you're flipping a house.
Yeah. So got a property here in the Bay. We bought it. We got a smoking deal on it, but we may end up holding it and kind of holding on to it and see what happens in the next 6 to 8 months. We're at a process right now, a point right now where we're likely going to finish it in probably the next week or two. But putting the home in the market around Christmas time is going to be rough. Going through the beginning of the year, I'd probably have to hold on to it for at least a few months. I'm going to see if I can possibly just find a short-term rental. There's quite a bit of people maybe throw them into like a 6-month and then a month after that type of deal, where they can find another property with inventory being low. But yeah, we flipped a property in San Jose last year. Had a lot of success with it, and it's something I've been kind of dabbling a little bit into it. Do you flip properties?
So funny. We flipped a couple, right? My wife and I have been in the business, and we did a couple funny videos that kind of took off back before. It was when you could put a video on, when you couldn't put a video on live on, or not live, you couldn't put a video on Facebook. You had to do a YouTube link.
Mm-hmm.
And
right.
lighter side of real estate shared it. And so we got a ton of views on YouTube on that one video. And from that, we had HGTV, or not HGTV, but producers calling us, trying to create a show around us.
Oh, damn.
And they were all, but it was in the hot, right? So these producers will call you and they will try and get something and then pitch it to the networks. And so what they're trying to do is get the networks to accept their job, their pitch.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, we're in Des Moines, Iowa, and flipping houses, it's possible here. But the way it worked out was, so we flipped a couple to build our resume, because we got probably a total of 10 different interviews.
Wow.
And the flipping the house, we decided that we were going to just flip it, and then we were just going to document it and use it for marketing. So we really didn't care if we made a whole lot of money off it.
Right.
And the first one, we lost like 20 grand on the actual flip, because we bought it and it had water problems, and it was, $12,000 to do the basement.
Everything you find out when you get in there, though you do inspections. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
And since we're real estate agents and we want our names to be strong, we fix the stuff. We didn't Band-Aid it, right? So
right, of course.
And it was fun. It was a good time. And then we flipped another house, and we broke even on that one, but we represented the buyer also, and then we represented them when they sold it and brought the buyer. So we turned around and made commission, but we didn't really make any on the flip.
Right.
As far as marketing, we had a lot of people, like you'd see them in the grocery store, like, "Hey, how's the house coming?" So
Well, that's huge.
Overall, it gave us some content to put out there.
And that's kind of the way we look at it as well. We had this flip in San Jose that we went down, it seems like every few weeks, and tried to shoot some stuff from start to bottom. And we're doing the same thing here at my wife and I at this condo. I'm lucky enough to we've got a video production team, and I just grab one of my video guys. I'm like, hey, meet me at the condo. Let's shoot some stuff and kind of go from there. So it's a small little 1,000 square foot, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, but we'll be able to chop it up into a lot of short form content and be able to kind of, push that out to the database. At the very least, that just shows that you're in the field and that
it gets people staying on your page. Yeah, exactly. They want to see updates. They want to see, the new trends. And, we went and picked out lights and we did that kind of stuff. And we video everything, like everything that we could, we did.
Yeah. I love that.
But, you said you've got a media production company.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Now, tell me a little bit about that.
Yeah, so the name of the company is Envision Media, INVZN. And so my business partner and I we essentially kind of started it out of necessity. We needed to have everybody what we felt that we had for resources here of video companies in the Bay Area had the same look. It was like the same drone. It was a 3-minute video. That had the piano in the background. We're like, this, we need to switch this. It was basically the same video for everybody, just a different house. So when we got lucky and connected with a videographer who's just an incredible editor and just kind of a super talented. And we're like, hey, just do our videos. Let's just have completely different videos. Let's set ourselves apart. And then it started to grow. And we went from the 3-minute videos that everybody was doing to about 58, 59-second short form videos. And then we'd have some hip hop, some dance music, some like famous rock in the background where it would just have different looks and different cuts. So it started to grow. A lot of agents would hire us to shoot their videos. And then we started to build out packages with Matterport and photos and drones and Twilight. So we've got this whole kind of structured business out of it. And then it really morphed into content creation. And that's really what's been taking off a lot. We started the content creation portion of it a little over a year and a half ago.
So other real estate agents use your company?
They do a lot. Yes. Yeah. Quite a bit.
Do you do anything outside of real estate or just mainly real estate?
No. So we do outside of real estate. We've had projects with Microsoft and Xbox. We did a few other companies, coaching companies. There's a company out here called the Culinary Edge, which essentially is a culinary company that does a lot of creation for brands like Coca-Cola and Pepsi and Starbucks and whatnot.
Gotcha.
So we went out and did a huge campaign with them, but I'd say probably 90% of the business is real estate. And with it morphing into the content creation side of it, we built out what we call our content day. So essentially we would have agents. We have a studio. So I'm in my office. We have a podcast room on the other side of the wall, a big studio out back, a big editing room, a handful of offices. And we would have realtors and lenders come into the studio and we'd shoot them for about 4 hours, 5 hours. They would have about 15 different scripts that our team of writers would create based off our experience and topics that were relevant in the industry and some evergreen style stuff. And then, so we'd shoot those 15 and then we would do an interview, kind of like a podcast, like we were talking earlier, just to learn a little bit about them. And at the end of that 4 hours, we'd chop that all down into about 30 to 35 pieces of short form video so that they could post on social media. They could, most importantly, stay top of mind. And then about 7 months ago, we wanted to take what we've learned and the success that we've had and our clients have had with the content day and start scaling this nationwide. So we built out what we call our virtual content service. So we've been signing up realtors all over the country ever since we launched about 2.5-3 weeks ago.
Wow.
And essentially what we do is we handle all their video marketing. It's a bi-weekly coaching call for an hour each. On each call, we go over 6 scripts that our team writes, and it's all consistent and it's all custom. We walk you through how to shoot it. Once you're finished, you upload the finished video from your phone or Google Drive to the app. We edit it for you, custom to your brand with captions and color grading and graphics and all that, send it back to you. And then the app holds all of your assets and you can post that to about 9 different social media platforms. So it's basically 2 hours of work per month for our clients, and they get 12 videos that are all short form, informative. Most importantly, their clients see it, which is the big deal.
All right. You told my story until you got up to the content, because I have my own media production company as well. Mm-hmm. Ours is Real Vision, REEL, like film real vision. Yep. And that was formed out of necessity.
Yeah.
I hired a videographer to be my marketing person, and I helped him understand. So videographers and editors, they're artists.
Yeah.
And so they have the same niches all the time.
How is it like working with the creatives?
It was just, yeah. And just like you said, you didn't want the same video as everybody else.
Right.
And so we had our own guy. And when we decided to open him up to, well, they have this little network of guys everywhere or people everywhere. And I'm like, all right, here's what we can do. We can start this company, use your network. We'll 1099 them. They go out, shoot it. Then, we'll have someone else edit it. And I told him, I'm like, you or me only. Like any other real estate agent, we need to send them out to somebody else, because if my guy liked the slow-mo and he liked certain things, and I don't want my videos to look like all their videos.
Yeah. Yep.
With that, you said real estate agents get, the scripts. So you would have a pile of scripts that you send to these agents to do, but would that be the same that you send out to everybody, or do they all get unique scripts?
So we've built over the past probably year and a half about 80 plus evergreen style scripts with different factions, different ways. So like there's multiple different scripts on 1031 exchanges, FHA benefits, pros and cons. What we get away from is what we call the dictionary style of content creation, where sometimes you see the agents come into like FHA stands for federal, but yeah, exactly. And it's like escrow means, and they're going through the dictionary, and it's like, nobody really cares about that. What they care about is the benefits and features of an FHA, or, the issues an appraiser can run into. What are some issues an appraiser can run into with an FHA loan of a property that wasn't kept, So we break that down, and a lot of it's just experience that I've had over the years and issues that I've run into and topics that we do. And then we also have a portion of it where it's relevant style. So for example, interest rates going from 7 to 6.6, how big of a difference did that make to the market? Midterm elections, how is that going to affect you locally? So, so there is a point where agents will overlap scripts sometime, but at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter, because the only people that are going to see that difference is going to be realtors. Exactly.
Yep. Unless you have like 5 in the same market.
Exactly. And we've got a system in place. We've run into every hiccup in this portion of the business, and we've ironed out basically every little wrinkle that we've had. So we've got a system in place that scrambles everything, and it's very rare that you and I have the same scripts in the same market.
Yep. Well, and hopefully anybody would take that script and make it their own anyway, right?
Exactly. You can put a little tweak on it. We have them written to the point where there's really attractive hooks, good interest piece, good call to actions on it as well. It's definitely prepared by writers that are very talented. So when I first started doing my videos, it took me like 2 hours to write a script, and then it took me like 2 hours to shoot it. And then I'd send it to Fiverr, and it cost me like $400, and I'd get it back like a week later. I'm like, Jesus, I can't do this every day.
Right.
So
yeah, I don't do scripts. Like, I like if I get a script, I'm more likely to be that person, be like, and the FHA is, I've been in the business long enough. I have a good enough general knowledge about everything. If you just tell me, hey, why don't you talk about this? Then I typically just talk about that.
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where you can. And I think where a lot of agents, they understand that they need to be doing video. The problem is they don't know what to say, how to say it, how to edit it, where to go to edit it, when do we post it, how do I post it, what volume do we put, what the whole 9 yards. So we've got an entire course that we've built out on just best practices on everything. And then we've got the app, and the app, once we deliver it to you, can schedule out that app to post it to all these platforms, and you're done. So it's easy, super easy.
You have your own app.
Yeah. We just launched this about a month ago with Apple Store and Google Play. And that was a pain. I'm telling you, that was a lot.
I can't imagine.
Work, a lot of money.
So like, how do you, you're a realtor, man.
Yeah.
Do everything but realtor. Be a realtor.
Yeah. Build random companies for no reason. Be a realtor. We've got, it's just something, there's time in the day. There's plenty of time. We have a really good team here. So myself, Roland, Guillermo, those are the business owners. Those are the co-owners with me. And then we have a team of editors, shooters. It's a pretty dialed in. I mean, there's obviously issues that we run into daily, but you know, I own another business as well that my wife handles probably 95% of. But then again, my real estate business is you know, I've been at that for 12 years. So
it's enough, right?
Yeah, that's a lot. Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of crazy how, you know, people they don't understand all that goes into this job. And then they get licensed because it's an easy way to make money. And they're like,
what is this?
Yeah, I don't want to do that.
I was just before us chatting right now. I was with a team that is likely going to join our organization. We're going over the same thing. She's like, I'm just sick of, you know, the new agents that are coming in here saying this is quick, easy money because they saw Selling Sunset and, you know,
right.
all of this. It's like, that is not how this works at all.
You know, so, I mean, the HGTV thing that took off back in, you know, the Chip and Joanne, like that was like the real beginning of, okay, I want to do real estate. I like houses. Like, I think I can do this.
I like people. Yeah.
And you know what? It is, if you have it, you have it, right?
Yeah.
If you have it, you get into it, you crush it, you can do a great job.
Yeah.
To go at scale is a different animal.
It is.
Like you really have to be able to do 50 things at once effectively.
Or be able to delegate and know where to look and who to hire to do specific portions of the business.
Yeah.
I saw this guy do a video a couple of days ago, and he was talking about how many hours in a day. Everybody's got 24, right? The whole crowd's like, yeah, 24. And he's like, I've got 1,400 because I've got this guy, this girl, this girl handling all of this. And this is what I do. And I delegate it all. And that's a big thing. And when you get to the point of production where you're at the point of kind of pulling your hair out, that's when the assistants, the VAs, the transaction coordinators, you know, once that goes, then it kind of steps back a little bit. So where are you at with business? Do you have a team, or how big's the team? Or
right. So personally, so my story is I sold real estate for a long time. Mm-hmm. Went through the 2006, 7, 8 crash. Got divorced, financial disaster, everything. Like, you know, you get divorced, you got child support when the market's good, but when you want to get that child support adjusted down, it's an entirely different animal than getting adjusted up, right?
Yeah, I can imagine.
So I just got beat down. I had like 3 different jobs, and I decided I stayed in real estate, but I was like, you know what? I'm just going to let it come back to me naturally. And then I found Facebook in 2012. I started a page, and then like all of a sudden I started thinking about things and like, wow, this is pretty sweet. And my business ramped up because now I use my page to get back to all my clients that I had in the past, plus new clients. And it went basically like this down. And then my volume just shot to the moon, like doubled every year for like 3 years.
That's huge. Wow.
So that was like, I got to the point in 2015 probably where I had a real estate coach, and she's like, you need to get an assistant. And I'm like, you know, I pushed back because I can do it all. Well, finally my wife got into business, and then we had a child. And at that point, she's in the business, I'm in the business. And like, we have a kid now, and it was the gal at the daycare, Dora, that's her name. And we were the first person we handed the kid to, and she would talk to my wife and started mentioning, hey, I kind of want to get out of here. I'm sick of working at a daycare. And we're like, yo, why don't you come work for us and be our assistant? And then when we have to go on trips, you can stay at home with our kid and then work at the office for us.
I mean, where did you luck out there? Damn, right? I should have gone that route. And
it's been 8 years.
You need to do. Yeah.
She's still with us.
Wow.
So 8 years. And but that was like my first step into, okay, I'm going to commit myself to paying somebody a salary. And it was awesome. I mean, you know, they say like when you take those kind of jumps, you might go down a little bit, but then it ramps up. You know, you end up making way more money and doing way more business. And then it was hiring a marketing person. And we've been through a couple of marketing people. And then I hired, like, the last one left, and we hired just a videographer, right? Like, hey, we're doing videos. My wife and I have been doing videos since If you go on back on my YouTube channel, you'll see some of my first videos, and they were slideshows, right? Like with shitty pictures, like, like grainy, nasty. So doing videos all the way back in the day, we were probably the first ones in our market that hired someone to take video and edit it. And so we did that. And then we hired a videographer because we had some videos that were out there. We wanted to do more. We knew that's where it was going. I listened to Gary Vee, and he got me all fired up over videos.
Run through a wall with Gary.
Yep. For sure. And then David Goggins, I definitely ran through the wall.
For sure.
So we hired a full-time marketing person, and then that turned into the Real Vision Media. And now we have a licensed assistant that works with us now as well. And Dora, she's on maternity leave, so our licensed assistant stepped into that role for now.
Wow.
But that's my employees, and we have 3 other agents on our team.
Wow.
And my big worry about having my biggest reservation on that, my coach would tell me, you got to build a team. And the last thing I wanted to do was have real estate agents, the market go south, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and help them before I help me. And I'm also responsible for these employees.
Yeah.
And so it was until I just finally decided in my head, like, hey, look, it's not my job to generate leads for my team. It's my job to teach them how to get their own leads.
Right. Teach them how to fish. Right.
And that's been my goal. And if I do have leads that I can give, I will. I do have them set up on my Zillow, which I've reduced that quite a bit because it was just me helping people go back to their agents the whole time.
Right. That's Zillow in a nutshell.
Oh my gosh.
That's a whole nother. Yeah.
Right. So once I accepted that, and I taught I said to myself, hey, look, we can build this animal, but I just need agents that want to grow themselves, knowing that, they get to the point where they don't need me anymore. They might, leave.
That's it's funny because it sounds simple, but there's a lot that goes into that. And when you have employees, and I've owned brokerage. Owned a big brokerage. I've had teams. I've had small teams. I've had large teams. That it never, for me, I'm always at the point where I'm just trying to help and I'm trying to give as much as I possibly can. But it does get to the point where, for example, we had this brokerage open for a few years in Compass. I don't know if Compass came in like a Tasmanian devil in your area, but they did in ours. And brand new agents that did 4 or 5 transactions a year were getting, broken off big marketing dollars and 90-10 splits. And when you're at a brokerage like myself, it's really difficult to kind of to weather that storm.
Yep.
So no, I'm with you. I like to try to keep it as lean as possible. A goal for 23 is I'll probably end up bringing on an agent, maybe 1, possibly 2 by the end of the year. Just 70% of my business is referrals, that from farming, door knocking, following up with video, following up with gifts. Like
referrals, for me, this has like been my coach she's had it beat into my head. But like, if I have somebody refer a client to me, I feel it's my duty to make sure that they're taken care of. And I'm the only one that can do it. Right. Exactly. And she's like, look, listen, do you think you're the best? Do you think you're just that much better than everybody? I'm like, no, but like, I just feel like every time I give something to somebody, the ball gets dropped somewhere. And now I'm responsible for it. And she's like,
so that's
she's like, you got to get over that. And so I understand that.
Yeah.
But what they want is someone to get attention and to be taken care of.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And agents on our team can do that.
Yeah. Which is good because they've learned from you. You've taught them. Yeah. And that's important. I was the same way. And that's one of the reasons why, I haven't, and my coach will say that too. Like, why are you not, who do you coach with? Tom Ferry Network?
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, me too. And that's kind of a big thing. It's like, why don't we grow? Everybody's like, grow a team, get as large as possible. It's like the amount of liability and issue and concern that I have that a lot of people don't understand. I have a guy out here that went from 0 to like 400 agents, and a majority of them were like brand new agents. Brand new. Yep. I would get calls from them, and I'm not even on their team, and kind of going over how to write contracts and best ways to structure this. And the stress and the liability is just too much for me. Yeah. I got 3 kids, and I want to be able to, enjoy time with them instead of
answering questions. Exactly. Not only do we have our clients calling us, now we have, I get that. Yeah. And it's always at the worst time. Like
every time.
And
Yeah.
I just have to take a deep breath. And like, I have one agent that's new and she's just crazy. Like she doesn't care. She's going to get business and she's doing it. Like, and she'll have questions. I'm like, you know what? Good for her. She's doing it.
Yeah.
I got to take this call. I got to help her. I might be at the middle of doing this and that and this and that. And there's 5 questions coming my way and I get stressed because I look at my phone, but then I'm like, you know what? She's doing it, man.
Right.
Like I got to be there for her. And it is what it is. You have to make that commitment. And if you're not ready to, then don't make the commitment.
And it's a commitment. And that's where even hiring my VA just now, I am taking a step back in order to kind of get his daily processes going. And I feel like, Jesus, do I have enough business for him? Do I have enough stuff for him to do on a daily basis? But there's always something. There's always something I need done.
So you get a virtual assistant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And how's that? Like, it's
going
tough.
Yes and no. So the vetting process was probably the most difficult, going through everybody and kind of, you'd be surprised the qualifications and where some of these virtual assistants come from as far as like back teams that they worked on before, where they get the idea. Mine's very proactive, which is good because I need them to be more proactive than reactive. I need them to, so I've got a system in place where I've got kind of loose scripts that I've written over the week and whatnot. I'll send to him. I'll have him kind of adjust it, send it back to me so that I can shoot every morning my 4 or 5 videos a morning and kind of batch these out. But no, he does well. There's things that I'm probably not going to, let go of the reins on, and that's usually my clients. So I need him to handle my schedule. I need him to handle my marketing, the videos, posting. Like, for example, I've got about I sent him about 170, 180 short form videos. I'm like, I need you to schedule these out to go on YouTube every day at this time. I need these ones to go every 2 days at this time. And it took him like three weeks every day to get it done. But I have a report that's, dialed in. He's like, I finished here. This is where we're at. Here's the amount of hits. Here's the amount of views and so on and so forth. And,
wow.
So once you get
how many followers do you have on YouTube?
Not like nothing. I think I have like a couple hundred. I haven't put a lot of time into.
It's crazy though, man. Like I've got 370 videos on YouTube and like 340 followers.
Yeah, it's funny because when I first started in the business, it was in 2009, and in order for me to generate leads, besides door knocking and getting out, I had no money. So what I would do is I would go and I would get a list of all of the short sales or the pre-foreclosures that were hitting. For example, it'd be 50 of them in Danville, the city I lived in. So I would go on YouTube and I'd say, here, there's 50 new pre-foreclosures, short sales hitting the market. Click on this link to get 25. For you to get the other 25, you need to go to sendmeforeclosures.com. And I would do that, and I would just post that on Craigslist 4 or 5 times a day on every single city in the Bay Area through Craigslist. And I would just rake in leads, and it was like nonstop, but I had no idea what the hell I was doing. My follow-up game was unbelievably bad.
Yep. Well, when you get that many leads, you can't follow up with everybody.
When we were getting hundreds a week,
right.
It was nonstop. It was insane. And then we would, the follow-up was awful. So I was so bad at it that, I just gave up on that YouTube channel. But I mean, if you look me up, I look like I was malnourished. You know what I mean? I look like a 12-year-old. I didn't have any facial hair. I was, all over the place. The lighting sucked. The mic sucked. It was
it was terrible, right?
Yeah. Yeah. But
we didn't have phones that were amazing.
Right. In fact, I would go with new clients and I would go to properties that I thought they'd be interested in. And I would just have my iPad. And I'd just go through the thing with this big iPad. Say, I think this kitchen may work for you because of this. Interesting times. It's funny how everything morphs and kind of changes into, where we're at right now, where you and I are just consistent, and that's where the video space comes in.
Yeah. I was gonna ask you earlier, with your video editor guy, how well is he adjusted to vertical video?
They're on top of it. Like, it's funny because right before we started in here, I had a conversation at the door with him where my daily videos that I do about 4, sometimes 5 of them, and they were shooting them all in vertical. So, because I was only putting them on Reels and YouTube Shorts and TikTok.
Camera or phone?
That camera.
Okay.
Yeah. And then, however, when I would get them back, and I'm a big guy on BombBomb. I love BombBomb.com.
Okay. I was going to ask you who you use for video emails, and I
Yeah.
had it for a little bit, but I quit using it.
Yeah, I've been using them in fact, I've had a couple accounts with them. I've got something like 700 videos, 800 videos in this one account. But I would send all these videos, the vertical videos, and they would have the black ring around it. So it wouldn't look as attractive. So now, starting today, all the daily videos would be shot horizontal, and then edited in so that we can get some vertical and get some horizontal space in there as well.
Yeah, that like I told my video guy, his name's Ryan. I told Ryan, I was like, look, man, we need to take the camera and you need to figure this out, because what he would do is he'd shoot it this way, but then when he crop it, the quality wasn't the way I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
Like I get better quality with my iPhone.
Yeah.
100% going cinematic, right? Like that's legit. But so now he's like, they're all going vertical. Everything's going vertical. And I've got another friend that does video. He's like I don't know, but he does documentaries and like actual like movie style. And he's frustrated. He's like, man, the cell phone and all the TikTok and the reels and the YouTube shorts, they're just taking the art of editing out of it. Yeah. And I'm like, it's what it is, man. It
is. Yeah. And maybe it's a fad that happens for now and goes back to the horizontal space. But even with our new, virtual content service that we have, the majority of it is just shot on your cell phone. So it's a coaching call through Zoom. They're shooting on their cell phone. We're going back and forth line by line, and then they upload it. But it's just the quality of the cameras on these phones are comparable to some of the stuff we got out back in the room there in the storage room. So,
and for me, like when we go do a full video, it takes a week to edit it, because you're making a legit production, right? Yeah. It takes a while to get it edited and back, and by the time I get it back, I'm already on to the next one. So the majority of my videos, I just do it on my phone. I edit on my phone. And I get it out, because like oddly enough, as a real estate agent, I feel like I got to put 3 or 4 videos a day out. I'm a real estate agent, dude. Like
I know that. So I do basically one a day, about 7:30 to 7:45 in the morning is kind of my routine to kind of put them out. That's where I find I get the most engagement from. And then I'll put some small little things out on the side that, nothing crazy, nothing really of value, but more of personality type of thing. Yep. And then I know it's the whole, you need to post 4 or 5 of these a day. It's super unrealistic. Being able to, it's almost like the analogy is like, I don't know, I guess I can't think of a good analogy that would equate to that, but it's too I think I heard Howard Stern once say, all those guys that he's like, what the hell did he say? He's like, all these guys that are, jacked and they're ripped, they got the 6-pack and they got the perfect, they're look, he's like, they're all broke because they're all in the gym kind of doing everything, and they're not, but it's kind of like the same type of thing where it's like, if you're just constantly doing 4 or 5 videos of batching content on a daily basis, how are you
sell homes?
Originate business? Yeah.
So. And that I find myself distracting myself from doing lead gen by doing video. Like I'm like, but on the flip side, I'm not great at calling my sphere. But my social page, like locally, our Facebook page is like over 6,000 followers. And locally, that's more than most of the companies in town have. And it's just ours, right? So like, I know that if I put videos on stories and if I put stuff on Facebook, I'm reaching all those people, and they continue to remember me.
It's such a cheap way of touching them, right?
It is.
And instead of hitting 6,000 homes with direct mailers and paying, 40 cents a postcard with postage and everything, this is just so much cheaper.
And what opened my eyes to that was back in 2012, I accidentally started a page. I stumbled on like, oh, I can do a page, put it on. And then I realized for $20, I can get in front of 20,000 people. Holy smokes. So I just started dumping. I lived in a 600 square foot apartment with 3 girls. And I'm like, any extra change I have is going to this Facebook page.
Spend. Yeah.
And boy, I tell you what, like that page blew up. People started calling me. They said they see my stuff all the time. Like, wow. And then, they changed the rules on things. Like now all of a sudden it's $20 to get in front of 20 people. And then it's like, oh, by the way, you can't determine who your audience is anymore because of equal housing rules.
You got to click the housing. Oh my God, that was when that switched, everything switched for me.
That sucked, man. It was like a bummer.
Yeah. Yeah. And for me, I've got about 14,000 leads in my CRM that I've had over the years that will just get, not all of them read, but I've got a decent open rate with all of them. And my whole thing is just to connect the videos and just to stay top of mind, just to show you that I know what I'm talking about. I'm in the industry. I'm a resource that you can lean on, whether you need me or not. I'm somebody that's reliable and has the experience to be able to get you from A to Z, or beginning to close of escrow.
Yeah, it sounds like you and I are like completely, it's crazy how similar our path is.
100%. Yeah, even
the way
all
our
the way
brain
down
operates.
For sure. Even just how you started within the video space right around the same time I did, and you got back into the space right around the same time I did. But I was in the mortgage space. You were getting more back into the real estate side of things.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I like initially jumped into real estate back in 2004 and just did all the door knocking and all that kind of stuff. But the one thing I noticed right away, I wanted to be a photography teacher in college, my first 2 years. And then that changed, but I still love photography. Right. And I knew that, hey man, if I take better pictures than everybody and I start marketing that way, then I'm going to beat them.
Yeah.
And that was back in 2004 when pictures, they had like, you could put 5 on the MLS, right? Like terrible.
Right. Well, that's the thing. And that's where I've got listings because of the quality of my videos. Just straight up, I'm looking at everybody else. You're on the same page as them. I'm hiring you because you've got the team available and you do amazing videos. And it's like, but you'd be surprised. It's funny because as we work with consumers being realtors in the listing video space, when the market was hot, they weren't really putting money into listing videos. So there's an education portion of it that we're always on not recruiting, but kind of always on the push of, you need to get your name out there. You need to be out there with video. They need to see your personality, your mannerisms, your quirkiness, whatever the case may be. But when the market was hot, a lot of people weren't putting a lot of time into it because they're like, I can stick a sign in the ground and the home's going to sell next week. Now they're like, I don't have any money. I can't afford video. So it's now
and you get it with me.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like you get it. Like that's the one thing, like owning our own, media company and having that at our disposal is invaluable to the client. And I think I don't necessarily get leads directly off of YouTube or directly off of Instagram or TikTok. Like very few people actually, hey, I saw you on TikTok. I want you to be my realtor. But I do get a lot of, after we're working together for a while, be like, oh yeah, we saw you on, oh yeah, we were watching YouTube videos. Like I just met with someone last week and we were talking about selling their home. And she's like, I said, I only have 340 followers on YouTube, but it's a tough one. She's like, I'm one of them. I'm like, son of a gun.
Yeah.
It pays off, right? Like
it does. It's one of those things where, and we get questions all the time from even new clients, new members who sign up for the virtual service, or just even coming in for the content day. They're like, well, how many leads do you get per month off this? And I'm like, it's really tough to gauge what you're going to get for leads. All I can say is when I stop being consistent with video for whatever reason, go on vacation for a week or take whatever, I just get wrapped up in stuff. I see a direct, the amount of engagement to my emails and the emails coming back from me is hits significantly low. So do I have people calling me and saying, I saw your video, can you list your property with me? No, but I have had people say many times, because of your videos, I want you to list the property with me. And again, it's all top of mind. It's all it's the cheapest way to go top of mind, but most importantly, it shows your personality. And that's super important.
That's my substitute for calling my clients.
Exactly.
And you know what? A lot of people, they don't want to be called all the time.
No.
But if you're top of mind because you keep showing up in their feed, they're not going to forget you like they would if you didn't. I did a video a while back because I was like, not only are all these agents that just got into the business going to be dropping, what about the agents who have been in the business for 30 years and don't want to adapt to the video and don't feel comfortable being on video or can't do it? Is it time? Are they going to start stepping away because they just can't keep up?
Well, that's the thing. And we talk about that a lot, where in my area, and this is, I think, like the average agent across the country is in the mid to late 50s type of thing. The ones that haven't adapted to video, I think they're going to get passed by. I do. I don't think you can, because the new agent that is professional, that is driven, that may not know the ins and outs of the contract or have had the experiences of knowing how to qualify the lender and qualify the buyer, the little things that we know on how to prevent these deals from closing, they don't have that yet. But they're in front of my clients 5 times a day. And they're in front of, and they're just constantly, and as you continue to go, and then it just is more, it shows as more like an authoritarian figure. Yeah. So, yeah, I do think the ones that don't, and I think they're starting to scramble. I think the older agents who don't adapt are like, oh, Jesus. And you know what happened is COVID ramped this like times 100.
It did.
Right? It did. Like if you weren't doing video then, that's fine. But if you're still not doing video, it's going to be tough to keep up. It's going to be really tough to keep up, because that's it. Because they all know that Tim can sell the property. I know Tim can represent me from A to Z, from wanting to getting pre-approved to closing the escrow. But I want to know if I vibe with Tim, if I trust him in my house on Saturdays and Sundays, holding my open house or driving us around. And that's where video shows your mannerisms, who you are. Yep. Exactly. Yeah.
Yep. I try and keep it as authentic as possible.
100%.
That's why I don't like scripts, because it's, know, I am who I am.
Exactly.
So that, like the video has been something that I've loved. I mean, I'm kind of an introvert when it comes to getting out in front of people and like going to parties and being at events. I'm not the fun guy that everybody's standing around, which is not me.
Yeah.
I'm kind of more serious. I've got 5 kids. So like the level of, when I'm not working, we're still working, but my level of attention, like I've got a lot of kids, I got a lot going on.
Yeah.
I don't have, like my son said to me, I deer hunt, and I took him out to recover a deer on Sunday. And I was like, well, thanks for coming with me, buddy. And he goes, Dad, I'll go with you anytime. That way I'm not just sitting at home. I'd love to go with you. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I'll take you wherever. But I don't do much fun stuff. I'm like, hunting's about the only thing I do outside of work and doing stuff with the kids.
Yeah.
Because there's just not a whole lot of time for it.
No. And those are the conversations that are difficult, right? It's like, Dad, I just want to hang out. Like, what can we do? And that's where that's where, you get to the point of your business where you have referrals coming in. You're not back on door knocking. You've hit your farm. You've continued to originate over the years. You got the business coming in. It gives you an opportunity to kind of sit back and hang out with them. My kids are 13, 10, and 7. And I've learned the most this past year that real estate has taken so much time away from my family.
Oh gosh.
My mother passed away in June, and she lives in the East Coast. I'm from the East Coast. My entire family's in the East Coast, but there was countless times where I'm like, I just can't make it home. I'm representing a developer that won't let me get out. I got to do this
across the country.
Yeah. And it's like, that is never going to happen again, ever.
Yeah.
So
I totally get that.
That's another reason why I'm pumping up this Envision Media portion of it, is so that I can work remotely, still sell real estate, still be involved, still handle the clients I want to work with. But the days of me bending over my family are done. That won't happen anymore. So,
and that's the toughest thing in our job, because we all know that buying a house is the biggest life event going on at that time for them.
Yeah, it is.
And so when they want answers, they need them right away.
Immediately.
And not giving it to them is really not fair. I mean, I know we can't bend, but we have to be available, because their mind is right there. And if you're not there with them, then it's not a good thing.
I did a poor job of managing their expectations. They got everything out of me. That was one thing. That was one thing I'd say is like, one thing is you're going to get everying I have. So you've got somebody that you won't find anybody that outworks me. I'll think outside the box. I'm this, that, and the other. I'm hungry. But what I did was an awful job of managing their expectations, in the sense where they thought it was okay to call me at 11 o'clock every single night and talk for an hour and a half, and it's like those days are done. And
you know how I solve that? And I've said this on this show before. I tell my client, every one of them, I'm like, if you call me or text me at night, I'm going to answer or respond if I'm awake. If I'm not awake, don't be surprised if you get a message at 5 a.m.
Yeah, exactly.
And usually they're like, okay, well, we'll back off.
Maybe I'll call you at 9. Yeah,
but you know what's funny? What it did do, I had a client who'd call me at like 6 a.m. He'd be like, oh, I knew you'd be up. Oh, I guess that didn't work for you.
That backfired. Yeah.
So if they're early risers, don't say that. Maybe go the
That's me.
opposite direction.
Yeah, no, for sure. That's me at 4. I'm up at 4 every morning. And if I hit people with that, and that's the thing. And I think that's a big portion of it is just really kind of managing their expectations, right? Which, educating them on your schedule. And
the scary part about that, and this is your Be a Realtor thing, right? Mm-hmm. The scary part about that is we can be honest with our clients. We can be 100% honest, and we're going to work for them in their best interests, and then not get the job. Yeah. Be a realtor. Yeah. It's the truth. Because some people will look at you and go, "Oh, you mean you have a family and you don't have time for my call?" Mm-hmm. Okay, well, we'll find someone who does.
Exactly. And then
what?
No, it's and that's the truth, and that's how especially I work with a lot of kind of high level engineers, kind of type A, CEOs, people that are like boom, 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 and understand that there's, 14-hour days and 15, 16-hour days, and that's expected type of thing. Which is very difficult, which has allowed me to kind of understand their thought process a lot more over the years. But yeah, no, when I'm with you 100%, if it's once you get to the point where like, hey, I'll never be the guy where it's like, if my phone's done at 5 o'clock, because I will pick up the call and I will reply to your text message. But the late night calls, the developers I've represented have been just incredibly difficult. Yeah. But again, they've got millions and millions and millions of dollars on the line with multiple properties.
As long as you understand that, that's what they want. They want you to understand the importance to them.
Exactly.
And, so you said developers. Are you talking land or are you talking builders?
Builders. Yep.
Okay. We all use different words. Like we don't use escrow, we use pending.
Right. I know. I've learned that as we scaled this product over the year, over the past year.
So you do represent new construction out in your area?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Yeah, I know here we real estate agents represent most builders here in Des Moines as well. Okay. We got D.R. Horton came to town a few years ago and they have their own, in-house reps.
In-house team. Yeah.
But for the most part, we all, I represent a builder and this is kind of what we do here too.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a lot that goes into it. It's a completely different side of customer service. It's definitely more of a structure, a lot more structured than my typical residential resale and purchase. But yeah, no, but it's understandable. They've got, we just did 3 projects last year, which were in the range of about 30-40 million in sales for them. So there's a lot that goes into it. And there's a lot, and you're in the middle of COVID, pandemic thing. They got the whole supply chain issue. It's always your fault.
Yeah, right. How about that though? Like,
oh my God,
new construction here, just like, I mean, we were 10 months to build and people were like, okay. I'm like, oh, all right.
Exactly. When it was taking us 6 months just to get refrigerators back, just because we were a smaller builder. We weren't the D.R. Hortons, we weren't the Toll Brothers, but those guys stockpile the built-in fridges. They don't even need them, so we're buying them from them on the side. There's
goodness.
There's so many angles.
Yeah. Crazy.
Yep.
Well, hey man, I don't want to take up any more of your time, but love the conversation.
Appreciate it, Tim. You as well, buddy.
We'll have to do this again, down the road, and
for sure.
Stay absolutely in touch and keep rocking it, man.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you for the time.
You bet.
All right, buddy.